Hi, my name's John Carpenter. I'm a Gspeak engineer here at Oblong Industries, and I work with Sandbox. It's a new release from Oblong that'll be public in the next couple of months. Gspeak is the foundation to all the work that goes on here at Oblong. It's a spatial operating environment that allows Oblong to do all the really great things that they can do with technology. The couple of input devices we're using today are the iPhone and an ASUS sensor, which is similar to the Kinect sensor. It's a 3D camera. And basically, the iPhone gives me the ability to do little gestures that can rotate the data around, and the ASUS sensor gives me the ability to grab and translate and move the data around. When I first started here, they said, okay, well, come up with an interesting data set that you want to work with, because we're going to do a test case and kind of try out Sandbox. And we just had a couple earthquakes, and I wanted to see if I could see any patterns just based on the data. So I went to the USGS website, and we plotted it all in Sandbox and started to move around and work with it. And I think, let's see. So right now, the way we're looking at color is based on depth. So the red quakes are really close to the surface, and the purple quakes are far away from it. And green quakes are about midway through. So if we come over to the United States or California, and you can see that a lot of the quakes are fairly superficial. But if we go up to Alaska, for instance, you can see that a lot of the quakes are deeper in comparison to the quakes in the US. So the next thing we did was to take this fairly standard 2D map and rotate it on its side, and now we're going to push back the data with a gesture. So I've pushed all the data back. I've pushed all the data back into its actual a relative depth. It's a bit exaggerated, just so that you can see the differences and how deep they are. But the types of things that are new to me as a designer are this ability to just grab and move through the data in a way that's almost physical. It's a really intuitive way to work with this virtual set of information. So some of those fun things are I can look at the data and use a gesture to push into the data and select a particular depth that's interesting to me. Right now we're looking at about 40 kilometers, and it's around 26,000 earthquakes. And then we can take those 26,000 earthquakes and break them out based on their magnitude. So now there's levels of quakes. There's smaller magnitude quakes up towards the map and larger ones down here towards the bottom. And then we can start to play around with new ways to look at it. So if we put this 2D data on a globe, now we can start to see kind of concentric rings of data that explode out from the globe. So if we can still push around and look at different depths. And right here at about 30 kilometers is a really nice one. If we go back to the US, let's see here. Yeah, if we go back to the US, you can start to see, I guess the interesting thing that came from looking at the data like this was that when there are quakes in locations, you do get a bunch of different magnitudes for that location, which sort of makes sense if you have aftershocks and things like that. But yeah, one of the things that's fun about Sandbox is that I didn't know that you would start to see patterns like that, but it makes it really easy to prototype these kind of interactions and new ways to look at the information. Yeah, well, there's a bunch of fun applications. I mean, anything where you need to keep your hands working with something, but also be able to interact with information quickly, there could be great applications, like the medical field, where let's say you can't pick up something, if you're in a sterile situation, you can't pick up and work with a book or something like that, you could use gesture to pan through information or text or data sets, MRIs and things. And we have a demo of that is currently in the works. Or let's say the kitchen, and you want to go through recipes or something like that. You could use gesture as a way to interact with that information in a new way.